Thanks for coming on, Edmund. We are live now. So tell us a little bit about what brought you into recruitment.
Hmm. So nice to meet you. Thank you, Levi, for inviting me first offly. So I think some of you guys on LinkedIn know me. So my name is Edmund. I am originally from Canada, but I did move to Tokyo almost 6 years now. It's funny story how I got into recruitment because my background actually in university was a marketing degree. And as everyone had the same dream, always wanted to work in Japan. I did get a working holiday, came here. Originally, I did try to do the typical step to be an English teacher. Uh, I did actually get a couple offers, but I really love kids, but I realized it wasn't really, I couldn't see myself doing this long term. I thought maybe it could be a good experience initially, but I thought I didn't want to waste my time. I want to do something that's more suitable for me and go straight into it. And fortunately, at one of the badminton groups that I play with, so I am a badminton athlete actually, I met another person who's actually a recruiter for there. His name is Kevin, and he actually asked me, "Hey, Edmund, do you want to try recruitment?" And then I was like, "What's recruitment?" So I went online, did some research, and learned more about what recruitment was. And I was like, "Oh, this is very interesting." So from there, I did a Google search of all the companies that were doing hiring recruiters and such there, and just sent my CVs out, send, like that. And fortunately, I got a couple interviews. And then throughout the process, I was able to learn more about what recruitment does, and before I knew it, this was a very interesting industry. And fortunately, it did not really need much Japanese. It was okay with just English. So I interviewed many companies, big corporations, small corporations. And finally, at the end, I did get an offer at my current company, which is Talisman Corporation. And from
Nice.
there, that's how I started my recruitment industry.
Gotcha. Great start to the career. And how was the trajectory? If we had to put on a graph, maybe,
Yeah,
like what would it look like in terms of from when you started until now, year six?
yeah. Trajectory. I started off here and I went here to the very bottom. And then I went back all the way up to the very top. And now I'm
Mm-hmm.
leveling out like this there, I would say.
Mm.
As expected, another big reason why I was rejected from many of the other companies was this is a sales job and I had no sales experience, right?
Mm-hmm.
And because of that, it was very crucial for there. So my first year was pretty tough. I actually was the worst biller of my company, actually. So I had the worst billing. I was scared I was going to get laid off. I was like living paycheck to paycheck and everything like that there. But because of that, my manager was very professional, supported me all the way, was always there for me, and I just wanted to prove myself I can do this. I wanted to show this company that I could be the best of the best. Even during my interview for this current company, they asked, all these agencies rejected you. Why should I hire you? And I said that if you hire me, I'll prove my worth and I won't make you regret it. And that's what pushed me there. And then from
Mm.
there, going from bottom, I was able to become the second best biller by my second year. And then by my third year, I was able to become the top biller of the whole company actually. I think that was about for 1.5 years. And then after that, I just been constantly in the top three biller for throughout my career now there.
Wow. That's amazing little comeback story. And what do you think was the main thing that you changed?
It was probably you have to find your own style. So, I did not know, but there was more than 200,000 recruiters in Japan, and all of them do the same methods and such there. So you need to find your own style, and you have to learn from the best. So going to the office, following the top builders, seeing how they work, how their style is, and like that, really gave me my own kind of vision of what type of recruiter, my type of style, and such like that there. And with time and time experience, to be honest, most recruiters will not make many buildings in their first year. It's usually their second year that the wave come. There's always a wave in your career, no matter what, like that. So I think the second year I had the experience, I had the foundation now, and my network was strong, and I was able to just turn it around like that there. Of course, it's also hard work. I was staying a lot of overtimes, never gave up, and I was a bit traumatized. So even if I was hitting my KPI target, I felt like it wasn't enough. It was always like scary, no matter what. And that really helped paid off
Hmm.
actually.
So basically that hunger, the fact that you're living
Yeah.
paycheck to paycheck, your back's against the wall, but you knew you were gonna go forward and you were going
Mm.
to prove it. I mean, it sounds very similar to kind of the chip on your shoulder that I had as well coming into the industry, just wanting to
Yeah.
be like, I do belong here. I'm gonna make
Mm,
it work. And that wave comes. But you said style and differentiating yourself amongst all these different recruiters.
mm,
How, like, just be specific with us and help us understand a little bit about what is your style? What are some things that you do that are different, or that you
mm.
picked up from other people?
Um, I would say is that most candidates I work with, they appreciate is my honesty. So of course, not all recruiters have can be honest all the way to the point right there, but most of the time I'm generally very honest to all my candidates. If I don't have a role, I don't have a role. I will say it to them. Even if they apply through another agent, I will say, no worries, but if you ever want to switch or if you feel like that agent's not providing enough, I'd be happy to assist you. While other recruiters, they're very aggressive. They'll be like, no, please don't work with that agent. Work with me. You must work with me and things like that there. So I feel like candidates don't like that in this current market. Because there's a short of candidates, they really need that kind of trust. So because I'm not so aggressive, I always keep a network. And even if I don't have a role for them, I do provide them with referrals as well. I will say maybe I know this consultant that's really good, even though they're a competing agency. Or I'd be like, maybe you should check out these links. I would love to help you now, but I don't have a role. And every so often, after a couple months, if I do get a role, I keep track of the candidates and I will say, hey, it's been 3 months. I couldn't help you then, but I have a role now. Are you interested, maybe? And from there, all the candidates will be like, you left a very good impression, actually. And also during the calls I speak to them, I always think of it as a win-win situation. Most recruiters just ask for their information. Where have you applied? What is your current salary? These type of information there. But I share market information. I give information what they can do and things like that. And even if I don't work with them, they remember that I gave good advice to them. So it always
Mm,
leaves a good impression like that there.
mm,
So honesty is very, but of course, I know us
mm-hmm.
in this industry, there is a limit of how honest you can be, right? Kind of thing. So you can't say share all the information, but I mean, if they say, "Hey, I'm not going through you, but can you share some interview preparation?" I can't do that, right? But I can say that if you go through me next time, I'd be happy to share the information, and they also understand as well, right? So that would be one
Mm,
of my style. The other one is just I guess it's just the aura. So I think of my candidates and clients not as friends, as business people, but not in a serious way, right? So if they can feel very comfortable around me, while there are some people that where they're with like, oh, I have to respond in Kegel, very politeness, very strict, like it's very tense, right? But all my HRs I speak with, on our day offs, we go drinking, and even when we're drinking on our day offs together, we don't talk about work at all, right? And I think because of
mm,
that, they can feel that I separate my professional life and my work life very well, like that there. And they see my personality outside of work, and they're very nice. So they know that when they work with me, that even though I'm professional, they also know that other side of me as well, like that there.
mm.
There.
That's wonderful. I mean, the points that you're mentioning there, being honest and adding value by giving that market information, and advice, and then also building those relationships, in a different way, and really taking the
Mm,
initiative to go out and make friends with these people. Or, you're still business, people at the end of the day, you're professionals, but that's a definitely extra steps that a lot of recruiters I think don't take.
mm.
And that really must have changed the game for you, it sounds like. Um,
It's also hard too because our agency is not the biggest of agencies, so we do work in a very
mm,
small team. So I had to learn everything on my own. So my manager would be
hmm
there to say, you should do this, you should not do this. But in general, uh, it'd be like, okay, start BDing. I'm like, what's BDing? Right? And then
hmm
I was like, I'll just call them. And then I just call, and then that's how I learned, right? Kind of thing. While other
hmm
agencies, they kind of go through training programs they teach, which is very nice as well. But I think because
hmm
I went through this fast-paced environment that I had to learn and pick up upon my own, then I
hmm
had to really move fast, kind of thing.
hmm Well, I mean, two things that came up as you're speaking is one, it's great that you didn't give up, and it's also great that your company didn't give up on you, because I think that a lot of times with those bigger companies and even small ones too, they can really put the pressure on. And if it's that fast paced, you are either in or you're out, right? And
Mm,
it sounds like you weren't doing so well at the beginning, but the company was determined to, help you to succeed instead of trying to
mm,
start pushing you out, which seems like it worked out for everyone, at the end of the day, giving you that grace
mm.
almost.
Yeah, it is for sure. You can't give up. It is a quality as a recruiter. It's not easy, this job. People
Hmm.
really don't understand the backside of recruiting. It's very difficult, actually. So having a strong mentality is very important, I think.
Hmm. One more thing I just want to get specific with
Mm.
is you said like giving market information to the candidates and advising them. Can you give us like just specifically what kind of things can you mention?
Mm. Okay, so just going back to the other skill part before I talk about this is that I'm not just a regular recruiter, I'm actually a technical recruiter. So basically, what makes me also successful is that for every position that I work on, I mean in IT tech, right? I would do the
Hmm.
research in IT tech. I would research every single terminology and everything like that there. So when I talk to the candidates, if they ask, I'm a backend engineer, I know exactly are using this type of programming language. Yeah, I'm using these
Hmm.
programs, are using these frameworks. I actually know everything they're speaking about. I'm not an IT
Hmm.
background, but I spent time to do that research there like that. So if we go back to your question about what kind of market information, common questions that candidates would be like, what is the main programming language in the current market right now? What is the average salary and things like that there. So I do outside of my work and during work time, I do research on this market. What is the current salary right now? What kind of programming language? What kind of Japanese level? At the same time, I also know the industry as well. So, using LinkedIn, I can see where most people move from one company, which companies they go to, and why they are able to go to that company and such like that there. So
Hmm.
basically, information about tech stack, job changes devices, current market, which companies are hot, remote work details, salary information, all these information I can provide through my own research.
Hmm. Nice. And yeah, it's interesting. You can gain that information from the candidate, and then you can basically like feed that information back from other candidates to
Mm,
them. And that's really at the end of the day what's the value add of a recruiter, right? Besides just giving you that job is to provide that info from talking to people. So yeah, it
mm.
sounds like you're really a curious person. It sounds like you're curious beyond just talking to those candidates and getting their info, but also doing some extra research on the side. Um, and yeah, you found a style that works for you. And I just want to shift also, speaking of styles, is LinkedIn. Obviously, you're quite active
Yeah.
there. How successful have you really been from this? Because I see a lot of recruiters that are getting more active on LinkedIn.
Mm.
And I talk to a lot of them, and they say, oftentimes they don't really get the best candidates that are coming back to them. So
Well,
what's your experience with that?
to be honest, I post on LinkedIn, but it was not on purpose actually. It's just that I like posting in there. That's another part of my style is that a lot of recruiters they like to post their jobs. Like for example, I'm hiring for this role. These are the requirements I'm hiring. I never do that. I think in my 6 year career, I've only posted a job maybe 3 or 4 times actually in there, only if the role is super hot. I just think that I like to find candidates. My job is to find the right person and approach it like that there. So I don't really
Mm,
post jobs. Instead, I
hmm.
post market information. I generally post information about layoffs, what was it, what it's like to work in Japan, the currency here, cost of living, and things like that. Because I think candidates are more interested in this type of information in there. As I mentioned,
Mm,
I'm posted not so I can get famous or anything. It's just that I find this information interesting and I share and such like that there. And from there, I do get a lot of messages from candidates saying, "Hey, can I help you?" Or it's like, "We'll say, where did you get the information? I really appreciate your post." And the benefit of all these posting for me was that a lot of times when I talk to candidates, they'll be like, "I actually know you. I've read your post. I've seen your post, and I followed you actually." I'm like, "Oh, really? Actually, that's great to hear," and such like that there.
mm,
So that is also really great. But generally, I don't want to deny it. A lot of the candidates I do get from the LinkedIn are not the best candidates. I think it's just that they really interested in Japan, but in the end, they're not most suitable for my role in terms of like the requirements, criteria, and such there. However, the people that reach out to me, they send me the best referrals. So referrals are amazing. So basically, a candidate, someone will be like, I follow your post. I'm not looking for a job, but my friend is actually looking for a job in Japan. He doesn't really use LinkedIn much, so I was wondering if I could maybe share your contact with him and or her and such there. And that's how I found a
mm,
candidate that's not on LinkedIn there. So in a
mm,
way, it is connected. And the other good thing is that for my LinkedIn post is that I do get a lot of hiring managers as well that like my post as well. So hiring managers from other companies, they do see my post. They do also comment it and they thank me for the information about that. Because a lot of internal people that are in HR, they're very good at their internal job, but they really don't understand the market. They think that this salary is
Mm,
good when no one will take it, right? And that kind of information I provide to them really is nice, and they really appreciate it. So it also helps me on BD as well. So when I message someone like, hey, I'm like, oh yeah, actually I know you, kind of thing like that. And it
mm,
does help a little bit. But again, I'm only
mm.
posting on LinkedIn just for fun, really. It's not really to get famous or anything.
Okay. You say it's not to
Mm.
get famous, but you do it to get more leads for the business, or it's just purely like for because you think
It's
it's fun.
just purely because it's fun, kind of thing. Sometimes I will post. I generally only post like maybe twice a week actually there,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of my post is just copy and paste. So I just copy and paste like information about layoffs, Japan trends, and things like that. Every so often I will customize my own post to share my experience about what I think is good in the market and what is not and things like that there. So I do
Mm-hmm.
a monthly post of the market trend. So I
Mm,
try at the beginning of the month to share what is the current market trend in Japan right now, like that there. But in
mm-hmm.
general, it's not something that I have the time and commitment to though. Mm.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, you can still do something once a month that's for a business reason, right? I mean, I had a
Mm.
newsletter that would go out, 4 times a year. That's it. And it was enough to drive business, to
Oh
me
wow.
through the newsletter. So I find it sounds like you're doing something similar by just providing information that's useful and you look like you're an
Mm.
expert in the space and you're not just here trying to, sell someone a hot job um when they don't need it. So
Yeah.
yeah, really interesting to hear your style. I think it's very different again than other recruiters, and that's why it stands out. That's why, people resonate with it. That's why people know you. Um, whereas everyone else, kind of fades off into darkness. But
Yeah.
yeah, besides recruitment, do you have any like hobbies or you said you like badminton? Is that kind of the main
Mm.
thing you're doing in your free time or?
Yeah. So I used to be a competitive badminton player in Canada actually, and I'm still actually competing competitively in Japan actually, more like in local tournaments there. So
Mm-hmm.
it was one of the drives that keeps me exercise as well there. I guess another hobby I like is that I love drinking as well. So going to bar hopping, so drinking wine, beer, whiskey. A lot of times I do drink with by myself and just like visiting cool bars and such like that. And I guess that's also a motivation because it is quite expensive there. So
Mm,
for like that, only thing I don't have a hobby for, but I kind of hope I can pick up is traveling. I do want to travel a bit more now recently, like that there, while I'm still
mm,
young and such like that. But really, my main hobbies is just hanging with friends, badminton, and I guess watching anime and drama. I guess in the
mm-hmm.
end, watching anime benefits your Japanese level. It's interesting. It was also one of the things that brought me to Japan as an interest too.
Nice.
Mm.
Cool. It's good to see all the different sides of you, and how
Yeah.
it's, how you come together. So, is there anything else that you want to leave with the audience before we log off?
Mm, I would say that don't give up for sure. As a recruiter, it is the mentality is this is that you can't give up. It's hard. I went through the very bottom of the bottom. That's why I know what it felt like there to get to the top like that. And even when I'm at the top now, my motivation has changed a bit that I'm okay if I'm not the top anymore, but rather find a passion that I like to do. So just don't give up. Eventually, your pathway will come as a recruiter there. Maybe you'll stay as a recruiter for 6 years, 8 years. Maybe you'll move in-house, or maybe you'll become APAC, or maybe you'll change completely a different job. The skill set you gain as a recruiter will be very beneficial no matter what, but never give up there. I do find a lot of the younger recruiters, they do give up too easily and such like that there, and that's one thing. And another thing is that ask for advice. Honestly, if you're struggling, for me, I never really was able to get much support. I had to learn everything on my own. But my manager was one of the best managers I ever had. And because of her, I was able to not give up there. So I was able to ask her questions and she was okay with answering. So don't be scared to ask. If you're unsure, always ask like that there. even for my first year, or I think for the first 3 months, all my emails, I had my manager CC just to make sure I didn't do anything wrong or send anything wrong. So don't be worried to
Hmm.
ask there like that.
Hmm.
But for people are that really unsure if recruitment is suitable for you or not, give it a try. But I would say try 2 years. After one, you can't tell whether you like a job after 1 year or not. At least 2 years, in my opinion, there like that.
Hmm.
And I guess yeah, that's mostly it for my advice for the audience. And last one is that some recruiters are friends, okay? So to the candidates out there, we love money, but some of us do want to help you, okay? We do want you success. I mean, I was haunted once before where I had a candidate that signed an offer, but I was really hesitant if they should sign this offer because I don't know if that company is suitable for them, and I couldn't sleep for a couple of days. Actually, couldn't sleep. But then the candidate ended up really liked the company, and I was finally able to sleep. So there are some of us recruiters, we are emotional and we do care about you. Actually, we really want what's best
Hmm.
for you. I mean, our job is to help you find a job, right?
Hmm.
So if we don't find you a job, we can't survive either. But at the same time, we also want you to be happy. There's no point in you joining a company, you leave 1 month later and you hate me and you'll never talk to me again. We don't want that, right?
Hmm. Yeah,
There.
it doesn't really benefit anyone.
Mm,
This is, yeah, definitely stellar advice. I think a lot of recruiters are too nice and they don't, you know, they don't actually, you don't actually know if someone's going to be a good fit for that role. You don't actually
yeah.
know if they're going to join and then they're going to do really well. They might, like you said, you're kept up late at night thinking about whether this is going to be a good thing for that person or not. And
Yeah.
at the end of the day, it was fine. So
Mm,
I think there's a lot of people in recruitment that are like bearing this burden of this whole person's life is on my shoulders, and really that's
mm,
not our job, is not to bear that burden. Even though we
mm.
do want to do what's best and we do want to care, it's really up to the candidate, right? If you've done
Yeah.
your job and not pushed them,
Hmm.
against their will, to do something, then you should be able to sleep well at night,
Yeah.
hopefully, with
Yeah.
knowing that you've
I
done the right thing. So,
yeah.
but it's hard to.
Yeah, I've never been mad at a candidate that rejected an offer. Honestly, if they reject, then was that I understand they have their own decision, but because in the future, if anything changes, I have the relationship, right? Rather than say, why did you reject? Oh, you shouldn't have
Mm,
rejected. It's the worst decision of your
mm,
life, kind of thing. It doesn't make sense. I hear recruiters sometimes do that, and it just doesn't
mm-hmm,
make sense for me. They can make their own decision, and I believe I have actually told candidates not to accept an offer before because I think they're
mm-hmm,
underballed and they deserve more and they really respect me for that and that's very important
mm,
too in this industry. If you only look at
yeah,
just money, it's not good. But I don't know, some big agencies, the managers might completely disagree with me here.
yeah, definitely. I mean, at the end of the day, they're a business. I think then they just want
Yeah.
to close the deals, and I think that long term wise, it's way better to build that relationship and build it through honesty. Um,
Mm.
at the same time, I have to say I've definitely been pissed off at candidates for rejecting their offers. I wouldn't maybe burn the bridge, right? I wouldn't maybe
Yeah.
tell them completely, but sometimes I think you do have to. Sometimes there's candidates out
Yeah.
there, at least that I've dealt with, that
Yeah.
need to be told what you did was not
Yeah.
cool. Don't
Yeah.
do that again, or we're not working together. Because I don't care if we had
Yeah.
this bridge,
Yeah.
or not. If you're gonna be janky like that. So I've definitely
Yeah.
had times when I have gotten upset, but it's
Yeah.
not every time, right? I mean,
Yeah.
you probably have
No.
more to learn yourself from a
Yeah.
rejected offer, like what
Mm.
you should have done earlier in the process so that you didn't have to deal with this heartbreak, because it's probably
Mm.
your fault that they
Mm.
rejected this offer because it shouldn't have even
Yeah.
gone to this stage, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Unless they were, unless you did everything perfectly and then they kind of lied to you, which
Yeah.
happens. And you have
It
to tell them
happens.
straight up,
Yeah.
like, you did something bad and unprofessional, and I'm not going to work with you again, right?
Yeah.
It's
But
not easy, but it's not
we're
often
we're
that
we're
that happens
fortunate to be in
either.
this we're fortunate to be in this situation though. A lot of the junior consultants, recruiters, they don't really have this selection. I have fortunately I've been 6 years, so I have the networking experience. So I have the ability to say, I'm not desperate to work with you. I don't
Mm,
have to work with you, right? It's true, you're an amazing candidate. I could lose you and you probably get offers, but I'm not obligated to work with you. And that's
Mm,
something I'm happy that I can choose who I work with. And
mm-hmm,
I also tell the people that I work with, if you work with me, I'll do the best I can. If you don't want to work
mm,
with me, I'm okay. I don't want, our company has a model which we believe is called win-win. It's not just us winning, it's not just you winning. Both of us
mm,
want to win, right? So if you don't see
mm-hmm.
this relationship, there's no point in me working with you. I
That's great.
often will tell some consultants be like, some of my managers like, can you work with this candidate? I can't work with this candidate. I just can't. I think they're great. They'll get offers, but I can't. I'm gonna lose hair. I'm gonna be stressed. I can't sleep. I won't do this. And they're like, okay, fine, right? So
Hmm.
that's that. But that's something that, as a benefit as a senior,
Mm-hmm.
and consultant, junior people they don't have that choice, which I do feel is
Yeah.
unfortunate. But it's a
Mm,
learning experience.
for sure. I have one more quick question, just like
Hmm.
it's kind of random, but I had someone tell me the other day that they um had a candidate that said they only wanted to have email contact with them
Ah.
and no phone contact. And then,
Mm.
the relationship kind of got soured because of this,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
management was like, okay, you have to talk on the phone. But what would you do
Yeah.
if you were
In
in
that
that
situation.
situation?
Um. It depends on the candidate. If the candidate is very, very good, then I will respect them first and try just email first. However, I will also depend on their communication. If they can respond really, really fast by email, it's okay.
Mm,
But however, before final interview or before offer stage, I will for sure call them, at least speak. I'm okay. If I have had cases where I only spoke to candidates by email initially, which is not good, but I do speak to
mm,
them at the final stages, and the
mm-hmm,
relationship was not bad because we had a fast response rate in email. They would respond really fast and such
mm,
like that there, and it was okay. But if the candidate takes like a week and they respond but very slow, or the message is very bland, I have to change it
mm-hmm,
to the phone. If they don't
mm,
want to change it in the phone, I might have to give up this candidate because it
mm-hmm.
just I know I can see in the future it won't work out there.
Yeah.
But for the candidates, I do respect their privacy if they want to do this. But I will also tell them that, are you okay to at least speak at the very end? And then if they're okay with that,
Mm-hmm.
then I'm okay to proceed there.
Mm.
Mm.
That's nice having those
I had a
ground
couple
rules.
offers there. There. I
Interesting.
mean,
Yeah.
there are candidates that right now they go to work every day and they just can't take the phone, right? So
Mm-hmm.
there. So it's
Yeah,
a case
it
by case, I
happens.
think. There, like
Mm.
that.
I think it's good setting the expectations with them as well, and the ground rules, I
Mm.
guess, of what you need from them. Because at the
Yeah,
end of the day, this is for them, right? If
yeah,
they're serious
yeah,
about taking this offer, and sometimes
yeah.
they're not serious about it, and that's a red
Mm.
flag, right? That they
Yeah,
want to just have emails. So thank you
yeah.
for your advice on this. I think the answer also and everything you said is spot
Mm.
on. Much appreciated for you coming on here during your busy schedule, and it was nice to meet you as well.
No, no, it was great. I This is my first podcast in my entire life of as a 32
Nice.
years, so it's really great. I find this very interesting. And then, do if you do have any other events, I'd love to meet other
Hmm.
consultants. To be honest, after 6 years in the industry, I'm becoming actually more of an introvert. I don't go out much now to meet new people. So if there is
Hmm.
events, please do invite me. I love to
Yeah.
meet the top recruiters from other agencies and even HRs. I would love to speak with them there. I promise I
Hmm.
won't BD them. There.
Awesome. Yeah, I'll let you know as we schedule these events.
Yeah,
All
great.
right. Thanks, Edmund.
Once again, thank you again, Levi, for the time,
うん。
and hopefully we can speak again soon.
こちらこそ。
ありが
Thanks.
とうございます。よろしくお願いします。
ありがとうございます。